Einstein's theory of special relativity changed our entire understanding of physics, and it was all based on a single principle: perspective. The whole reason it's called relativity is because it explains the perspective of one reference frame relative to another reference frame. The point of it all is that an object traveling through space at near the speed of light, also known as relativistic speeds, experiences the universe in a very different way than something standing still. Two completely different perspectives. Both of them true. So our foundational understanding of the universe is predicated on the idea that truth is relative to the perspective of the person observing it. So, can there be any such thing as real objective truth? Patreon supporter Clayton Petzer asked, what exactly is truth? What do you think defines absolute certainty, and how can you prove that an idea can never be false under any circumstances? Clayton, if you want a video about truth, let's start by talking about alternative facts. Nope, not gonna get political. Not gonna do it. Not gonna get political. The question of what constitutes truth is pretty philosophical, and it's something we've been wrestling with since the beginning of time. Religious leaders, philosophers, scientists have literally spent lifetimes trying to answer this question, so obviously there's no way I can put a cork in this bottle in 10 minutes. Hold my beer. I'm going to start by proposing a framework here, which is that truth is all about trust. I and you and everybody watching this experiences the world through this meat suit. We live a subjective experience and can only perceive that which is right around us. Everything that we know and believe that lies outside of a 4-foot radius of our bodies comes from other people. Friends, family, media, total strangers on the internet. We choose who we want to listen to and what to believe. Now, in a perfect world, that would be the end of it. You know, we can't see everything, so we learn from other people. Other people are truthful, so we believe in it, and we're all on the same page, right? Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. Unfortunately, that is not the world we live in. There are several problems with this. One is just the grapevine effect, the fact that facts get altered and embellished throughout time as things get passed from one person to another. The other problem is a lot of people have ulterior motives, something to gain by changing the facts along the way to fit their own narrative. And then there's the fact that just because something is more accurate doesn't mean it's the one that's going to be the most accepted, especially when there are powers that be out there that can break your legs if you say something that they don't want you to say. So who we choose to believe informs what we know about the world, because we can't be everywhere at once. If we didn't see it ourselves, then truth is about trust. But it goes even deeper than that, because who said you could trust your own perception? Just because you saw or experienced something yourself doesn't mean that it's true. Our brains lie to us all the time. In fact, everything that we perceive is just made up whole cloth by our brains. You know, people always say, I saw it with my own eyes, but that's not true. You don't see with your eyes at all. All your eyes do is collect light and focus it on the back of your retina. It's your brain that creates a picture out of that and makes it into something you can understand. And before you accuse me of splitting hairs, consider this. The image that gets projected on the back of your eye is actually flipped upside down. It's your brain that has to flip it vertically so that it makes sense to you. Your eyes literally perceive the world completely opposite of what it actually is. In fact, there are glasses that can actually flip your perception upside down. And studies have shown it only takes a day or two before your brain rewires itself to see normally. In fact, there was this great experiment by Destin over at Smarter Every Day where he found a bicycle that had its handlebars rigged to turn the opposite direction of the wheel, which makes it almost impossible to ride. But he practiced it and he practiced it until he was able to ride it normally, and then he switched over to a normal bike and fell flat on his face because he was used to doing it the other way. But these senses, all distributed into our malleable brain through our meat suits, this is how we created our subjective experience of the world. And for the vast majority of human history, this is how we try to discern what is truth, through our senses and through other people. But the problem is that's subjective to a lot of different issues like logical fallacies, superstitions, and social pressures. Aristotle was known as a great thinker, and he believed that logic was the ultimate tool for discerning the truth. But now we know that he got almost everything wrong, because a lot of things in the universe are not logical to our experience here on Earth. As Neil deGrasse Tyson has famously said, the universe is under no obligation to make sense to you. Eventually we got wise to this problem, and we created a system in service of finding discernible truth. And it's called science. Make predictions, test assumptions, retest, peer review. All of these things are designed to reach an objective truth that lies outside of our subjective experience. It's the single best tool we have to understand truth in this world. But it still relies on trust. You got to trust the equations, you got to trust the instruments, you got to trust the other researchers out there. And the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of people out there right now that don't trust science. And in the United States, this distrust does go along party lines. 42% of conservatives in a 2014 poll said that they don't trust the scientific community. Don't get political. Don't get political. But I see this all the time on my channel because anytime I talk about NASA or Elon Musk or any space-related thing, the flat earthers come out of the woodwork. Actual people who think the actual Earth is actually flat, that space doesn't exist, the moon landings were faked, and all the evidence out there to the contrary is just a giant conspiracy designed to hide the truth. And I want to just yell in their faces, stop being stupid! Not only are there mountains of evidence that the world is a sphere, literally all the evidence points to it, and there is zero evidence to the contrary. But I have to be honest with myself, I've never been to outer space, so I've never seen it. I've never gone around the moon and come back around and seen the big blue marble floating in the sky. And even if I did do that, I would have to trust that my senses were telling me the truth, which I can't 100% do. Hell, I can't be 100% sure that I'm not dreaming this right now. But I have to just trust that I am in a wakeful state, because all the evidence around me points to my other experiences of wakefulness. Just in the same way, I have to trust that all the videos and photos of a spherical Earth that I've seen are real, that the satellites that revolve around the Earth and make my life possible now are real. I have to just trust that. It's like I've never been to Bangladesh, right? But I've seen Bangladesh in the news, I've heard of Bangladesh, I've seen pictures of Bangladesh, I've gotten comments from people from Bangladesh, but how do I know? How do I know that it's not some giant conspiracy by all the governments of the world and the media to convince me that Bangladesh and the 170 million people that live there are real? I don't know. That's ridiculous. But I have to concede, it is a possibility. It's just a very, 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 very small probability. And this is where I see an interesting parallel with quantum mechanics. Because as we've discussed here a million times over, subatomic particles have the ability to be in superpositions, different places at the same time, pop in and out of existence, and basically exist in probability states. But that doesn't mean we have no idea where they are. Thanks to mathematical models, we can figure out to a very high degree of accuracy where these particles are and what their position and velocity is in space. So maybe we can think of truth in the same way. Maybe no, there is no absolute truth, but there are levels of probability that allow us to predict truth to a high degree of accuracy. And you can choose to believe the high probability outcome that the world is a sphere that revolves around the sun, or you can believe the very, very low probability outcome that the Earth is flat, that NASA is a giant fraud, and this is all a giant conspiracy. And I have the right to mock you, mercilessly, for choosing to believe the lowest possible probability outcome. Hey, look how I made this video all about flat earthers. It's like I'm just done with crazy people in my comments or something. But as I said at the beginning, this is a very philosophical question, which means there's room for all kinds of opinions. I would love to hear yours down in the comments below. Thanks again to Clayton for an awesome question and for being a wonderful supporter on Patreon. If you guys would like to get some questions answered and get some cool perks, you can go to patreon.com/answerswithjoe. Please like and share and subscribe if this is your first time here, because I come back with cool topics like this every Monday. Hope you guys have an eye-opening week, and I will see you next time. Love you guys. Take care.